Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me all right? Great. Good afternoon. I'm Beth Angel. I am the Dean of the University of Michigan School of Social Work, and I'm so thrilled you're here, whether you're here in person or whether you're here online, to celebrate the Annmarie Hawkins Research Professorship in Disability Justice. Today, we are honoring both Annmarie Hawkins and Professor Connie Sung. First, I'd like to begin by thanking the Hawkins family. And first, let's welcome each of the Hawkins family members. And if you could either stand or wave, whatever you prefer. Annmarie. Neil. And Rachel. Now, while they're not here, I'd also like to acknowledge, because even though they're not present with us in person, Anna and Deborah from the Hawkins family. Hawkins family, thank you all for your extraordinary generosity. Over the years, you have strengthened our school in profound ways, and I want to list just a few. Supporting students through the Detroit Field Fund. In Rachel's honor, Rachel is one of our graduates, and so the Hawkins family has supported student field stipends. They have brought leading voices like Spike Lee, Terrence Blanchard, and Darren Walker to the School of Social Work through the Social Justice Changemaker Lecture, and now establishing this new research professorship. Each gift has expanded our reach, but this gift is especially powerful. It honors Annmarie's lifelong advocacy while investing in a future that is more just, inclusive, and equitable. I've had the privilege of knowing the Hawkins family for over 3 years now, and I know that you're going to be hearing more about Annmarie's journey. She's going to tell you a little bit more about it in a few minutes. So she'll tell you a little bit about her journey of becoming an advocate, and that journey goes back a number of decades. So what I'd like to do, so that I'm not covering the same territory as Annmarie, is that I'd like to share a little bit about what I've learned about Annmarie and about the Hawkins family through my friendship with them over these past several years. First off, it's important to know that to know Annmarie is to understand, and you'll see this, that she identifies strongly as a girl from the Bronx. And as she puts it, she brings a little bit of the Bronx with her everywhere she goes. Now, what does that mean? That means Annmarie is going to call it honestly. She's going to give it to you unvarnished, and you're welcome. The second thing about Annmarie, and really their whole family, is that they have a way of adopting people into their family. So this means they're going to look out for you. They're going to have your back. Deborah's longtime caregiver, Anna, is not surprisingly considered an important part of their family. But what may surprise you is that so are people they've met in restaurants who are wait staff all over the United States, who they keep up with even after the restaurant has gone out of business, tracking them down when needed. One way that I figured out that I had been adopted into the Hawkins family is when I needed to have a major operation last fall, and I had to take a few weeks of medical leave. Neil gave me some pretty stern words about coming back to work too soon, and Rachel was put in charge of creating the audiobook list that I would listen to while I stayed on the couch as ordered. And so in adopting people into their metaphorical family, Annmarie, Rachel, and Neil have a way of letting people know how much they matter. And this brings me to the final and most important quality to lift up about Annmarie. When Annmarie commits, she's all in. Annmarie has been all in for decades, since she was just 14, volunteering at camps for young people with disabilities. She went on to earn degrees in special education, to teach students with autism in New York City, and later deepen her expertise in rehabilitation counseling. Annmarie's leadership spans classrooms, community organizations, regional and national boards. Here in Michigan, she's been a mentor, an advocate, and a trusted guide for countless families. Her award-winning advocacy is also deeply personal, rooted in her own family's experience, which I know she's going to tell you more about. And since Annmarie brings a little bit of the Bronx with her everywhere she goes, and she adopts people as her family, and she goes all in, she's determined to get the result she knows is right. And most of the time, she gets it. Rachel, as an adolescent, decided she wanted to buy Annmarie a button to wear on her jacket when she attended IEP meetings for Deborah. And the button said, "I'm smiling, and that alone should scare you." Annmarie embodies what it means to lead with compassion, justice, grace, and persistence. And her advocacy with and for people with disabilities has been nothing short of transformational. And that's why today matters so much. Professorships are a way to bring lasting recognition to those they honor and are among the most transformative gifts our school can receive. They recognize outstanding faculty while ensuring that we can recruit and retain the very best scholars. Sorry, fidgeting there. 2 years ago, the school held a search and ultimately decided to recruit Connie, a faculty member who has dedicated her career to the improvement of the lives of people with disabilities. Like Annmarie, she happens to be a rehabilitation counselor, a certified rehabilitation counselor, just as Annmarie has been throughout her life. Connie's selection as the Annmarie Hawkins Research Professor, therefore, could not be more fitting. We're so proud to name Dr. Connie Sung as the inaugural Annmarie Hawkins Research Professor of Disability Justice. As you'll hear today from Connie's colleagues and throughout her presentation, her research is groundbreaking, advancing career development, community integration, and quality of life for people with disabilities. This professorship will amplify her work, bridging research and practice in ways that changes lives. Through this gift, Annmarie's legacy will grow and flourish in the hands of future generations, and we're deeply honored to carry that legacy forward. Please join me in celebrating Annmarie Hawkins, the Hawkins family, and Professor Connie Sung as we look ahead with hope and excitement. I'd now like to call to the podium Annmarie Hawkins. She's smiling, and that alone should scare me.
I think it's very fair to say that I never expected to be standing up here today or to be recognized in an academic setting for my work or my career, never ever. And it is truly humbling. I want to keep the focus today on Dr. Sung. It feels right that she is in this research professorship. We have started to get to know each other, and she is remarkable. The University of Michigan is so fortunate to have her on the social work faculty. She's a natural collaborator, and we are certain that she will have a tremendous impact here at Michigan and in her focus to drive disability justice through her work. Thank you for coming here, Connie. I do think it's also appropriate for me to make a few remarks about my journey. I grew up in a working class neighborhood in the Bronx in New York City. My family had no real involvement in social work. I was blessed to be the first person in my family to go to college, and that was with the support of my parents. It was important to them and to me. But how and why did I get involved with what people might call social work? I'm not totally sure, but I started at a young age. I volunteered with my dad in supporting young people in the neighborhood with developmental disabilities. Of course, we had other names and words for these neighbors back in the day, but thankfully, we have mostly gotten rid of the R word. From there, as a teen, through my church, I was a student leader for search weekends, and we started including people with intellectual disabilities on these weekends. It was a focus and a passion of mine. I also volunteered at Bronx Psychiatric Hospital with preschoolers in a Saturday respite program. Why? I felt a calling to do it, and I answered that call. In college and graduate school, I chose to become a special education teacher, and I worked for 2 years at PS 176X, which is a public school in the Bronx that serves all students with autism. And again, a humbling experience, but one where I developed great depth of expertise with people with autism in a hands-on way, not in research, not in theory, but in direct teaching so that each of my students could develop their potential. I chose to move to Boston, where I studied for a rehab counseling degree, graduate degree, and worked for several years for a Mass Rehab Commission, focusing on people with substance use disorders and mental health challenges, and working with them on their desire and their need to find, gain, and retain employment. Again, very humbling. But I learned at the front lines how to help adults build skills while they manage their disabilities. In 1988, Rachel was born in Boston, and we moved to Michigan. Rachel is an amazing LMSW alum of this college and this school, and I'm very proud of her. In 1992, our second daughter, Deborah, was born, and she had tuberous sclerosis complex and many of the symptoms that are of intellectual and developmental disabilities, including autism. She reset my life, but not my work. I shifted to working with NGOs and also being on a board level at a local ARC and working directly with adults with disabilities as a volunteer. I became an expert in special education as a parent, which is very different than as a professional. One thing I'm very proud of from this period of time was I was able to drive the incorporation of music therapy into the IEPs for our county. It might sound small, but it matters for the hundreds of kids who have benefited from it since then. I've worked to support young parents who are scared and frightened as they are having a child who is facing a special education future. A listening ear of a fellow parent is often very important for parents who join this club. This led me to be an ESA elected school board member, and for 16 years I worked diligently to preserve and enhance services. And I've been an appointed board member of Community Mental Health for Central Michigan for the last 8 years, again, focusing on consumers who are living in their communities to have the opportunities to be the best they can be. I do not say any of this to toot my own horn. I say it to illustrate, especially for the young people here and listening and watching. You never know what your journey is going to be, but you need to listen to your heart and follow it to find the purpose that you were made for. I did, and I have no regrets. Dr. Alice Hamilton, the first woman professor at Harvard, had a quote: "One must get into the arena choose a side and do what is right. Getting into the arena can be many and different things: volunteering, helping out others, through a profession like teaching or social work, but do get into the arena. Do not stay on the sidelines. You will never regret following your calling. And again, my congratulations to Dr. Sung. My thanks to Dean Angel and Hala, and my thanks to my family and friends, without whom I could never have done any of this. Thank you.
I'm Matthew Smith. I'm the Associate Dean for Research and a professor here in the School of Social Work. Good afternoon, friends, colleagues, students, and distinguished guests. It is a tremendous honor for me to stand here today to celebrate Dr. Connie Sung as the inaugural Annmarie Hawkins Research Professor in Disability Justice at the University of Michigan School of Social Work. Dr. Sung has been my collaborator, my esteemed colleague, and my friend for the past 7 years. I've had the privilege of working alongside her as we strive to leverage technology to expand employment and career opportunities for autistic youth and adults. Our shared journey has deepened my admiration for Connie's tireless dedication, her scientific rigor, and her compassion for those who are too often overlooked by public policy and society alike. Today, we also honor the extraordinary legacy of Annmarie Hawkins, a pioneering disability rights advocate whose impact continues to reverberate throughout Michigan and far beyond. Annmarie's fierce commitment, her formidable work with the Disability Network of Mid-Michigan, and her vision for equity and dignity for all people with disabilities laid the groundwork for countless advances in disability justice. Creating this endowed professorship in Annmarie's name ensures that her advocacy will shape research, policy, and outcomes for generations to come. We are deeply grateful to her family for making this possible. To be entrusted as the first faculty member to hold this title, Dr. Sung truly embodies the spirit of both disability justice and innovation. Her career has been marked by groundbreaking research, elevating the voices and experiences of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. At her prior institution and here at the University of Michigan, Connie has been a tireless force, leading the STEP Lab, mentoring emerging scholars, producing research that addresses barriers to meaningful work, and always centering the lived realities of youth and adults with disabilities, including autistic individuals, people with spinal cord injuries or epilepsy who are navigating complex pathways to employment. Her scholarship is not just rigorous, it's transformative. Connie exemplifies what it means to build bridges between research and community, between campus and society, and most beautifully, between talented individuals and the opportunities they deserve. Her work empowers self-determination, inclusion, and justice for people with disabilities, and her impact resonates in the lives of individuals, families, and communities across Michigan, the US, and internationally. On a personal note, I want to share that working with Connie is a daily lesson in humility and vision. Her ability to build inclusive research teams, engage community partners, and prioritizing those who are most marginalized inspires me and so many of her colleagues every single day. So today, as we honor both Connie Sung's remarkable contributions and the visionary legacy of Annmarie Hawkins, we also reaffirm our collective commitment to advancing disability justice. Connie, on behalf of our colleagues, our students, our university, and the broader community, congratulations. You are lighting the way forward. We are so grateful to be inspired by your leadership and walk alongside you in this important work. And now I'd like to introduce Mike Leahy. We are truly delighted to welcome Dr. Michael Leahy, University Distinguished Professor Emeritus from Michigan State University, and a longtime mentor and friend to Connie. Throughout her time at MSU, Dr. Leahy's guidance and encouragement were pivotal to Connie's growth as a scholar, educator, and innovator, helping her launch initiatives like Spartan Project Search and co-direct the MSU Doctorate Hegarty Postdoctoral Fellowship Program. Their continued collaboration reflects not only a shared commitment to advancing opportunities and inclusion for people with disabilities, but also the kind of mentorship and partnership that makes the field stronger. We are thrilled to have Dr. Leahy here with us to celebrate this milestone alongside Connie. Thank you.
Somebody else's notes, huh? Hi, everybody. It's really wonderful to be here. I do have comments that I have put together, and I'm sure are guiding some of the folks that are communicating this outwardly, but I do take the advantage here of saying some things that I didn't include in my comments. I feel so strongly about Connie. Anyway, I'll start out and add some things as I go in. It is my distinct pleasure and great honor today to be here with you and to provide some comments about Connie and her future, as well as what she's done in the past. I've had the privilege of hiring, mentoring, collaborating with, and proudly watching Connie flourish into a visionary professor in rehabilitation counseling. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. I've known Connie for about 15 years, right? And I can tell you, without any hesitation whatsoever, she is the hardest working person I've ever met. And she is, as we say, she's the real deal. What you see is what you're going to get, and you're going to continue to get it. She is truly a force, an internationally recognized scholar, a deeply compassionate educator, and a tireless advocate for disability justice who brings purpose, incredible hard work, and humanity to every facet of what she does. Many of you know Connie as an extraordinary scholar, and she is. Over 100 publications, over $20 million brought in external funds, along with a whole, I couldn't even count them, Connie, a whole array of research awards and organizational awards to kind of show the impact she's had throughout her time so far. She's one of the most accomplished rehabilitation researchers of her generation. But to truly understand her impact, we must look beyond the productivity indicators to the lives her work touches and to the systems she's helping to transform. Connie's research centers on dismantling the structural barriers and expanding opportunity for individuals with disabilities. She strongly believes that individuals with disabilities deserve the right to be included and leaders in helping to shape the systems that impact their lives. Her work is grounded in disability justice, community-based innovation. She's highly innovative. Someone said that earlier. She really is. She comes up with ideas that we all sit back and go, wow, I didn't think of that. Even more importantly, she'll take the idea and say, let me do it. And she does. Connie's research is ambitious and highly impactful. and always created with those people that she's working for at the center of her work. What makes Connie's contribution exceptional is how seamlessly she translates her research into practice and programs. Two brief examples. They were mentioned already, but I'll just go through them real quickly. She and her team have designed and implemented based on her research, and they include Spartan Project Search and the Stride Center. And just real briefly, through her leadership, she designed this high-impact, evidence-based school-to-work transition program for youth with this intellectual and developmental disabilities. The program is remarkably successful. The first stages of that was done at MSU, and it changed things in terms of how many people in these different departments that people were placed, what they thought about disability. And what we know about change, attitude change, you need to have people working right alongside folks for them to see how good they do what they're trained to do. Through her leadership, this program brought together the university, local schools, vocational rehabilitation agencies, mental health agencies, for young adults who are often left behind. And again, this idea of collaboration and bringing people together is one of her clear strengths, and that was from the very beginning. She didn't need to be mentored in that. She had that natural ability to reach out and then to be there. As you all know, it's two different things sometimes. Not with Connie. The Stride Center, relatedly, is a vibrant, interdisciplinary hub that not only trains disability professionals, but also empowers individuals with disabilities through innovative interventions and career readiness programs. Stride reflects Connie's vision of equity in action, an ecosystem where students, researchers, educators, families, and community partners collaborate to promote independence, inclusion, and belonging. Connie's impact stretches far beyond Michigan, as was said before. She's a global connector and mentor, leading multiple international initiatives that help elevate disability justice worldwide. She mentors scholars from Europe, China, Africa, to advance inclusive research practice. She's also a leader in what's called a STEP cost program. It's an action by a pan-European network spanning 35 countries, all dedicated to advancing social inclusion through technology empowerment for individuals with autism, intellectual, and developmental disabilities. Just extraordinary. What you're getting now, I think, as someone who knows Connie really well, on the research side, you've really struck it gold. You struck gold. She's so good and so inclusive in terms of who she brings on those teams and how they then are credited for the work that she does. I could go on and on about that one. In the classroom, let's talk a little bit about that. Connie is a remarkable educator and mentor. She nurtures the next generation of scholars, practitioners, and educators with extraordinary care, guiding students, she does it with practitioners as well, but through the academic program. And really not only the academic success, but personal and professional growth. She's really good with her students in terms of individualizing those relationships to really hit on what is needed. In all her work, Connie embodies what it means to be a caring educator, a fierce advocate, and a bridge builder. I've been fortunate to witness her quiet strength, her humility, and her unwavering dedication over the years. She lifts others up and always leads with a sense of shared purpose. Now, Annmarie Hawkins. I just met her this morning, and I was just thrilled to meet her, having read about her And the fact that she was at one point one of the roles of rehab counselor, it was really wonderful. Your incredible legacy is one of transformative advocacy, deep compassion, and a lifelong commitment to helping people with disabilities reach their potential. This professorship, created in honor of Annmarie Hawkins, remarkable legacy, could not be more fitting. People have said that already, but it's just amazing to me. Like Annmarie, Connie has spent her career ensuring that individuals with disabilities are not just supported, but empowered, included, and celebrated. I find this fit absolutely remarkable, and I can't wait to see what happens as a result of it. She is the embodiment of what the professorship should represent: excellence in scholarship, deep-rooted advocacy, and a fluid, bold, justice-oriented vision for the future. Connie, you truly are an exceptional individual, a trusted leader, and a very thoughtful friend whose laughter and warmth, just anytime she walks into a room, you know Connie's there. She just has that kind of presence. I'm grateful to be able to be with you today to watch this happen for you. Sometimes people think that, you know, somebody from MSU would want to be, you know, let's hold her in, let's not let her go. But that's not the way I've ever looked at Connie. Connie had so much to give that we had to be ready to provide the support and resources for her to get there. And I think this particular time, this couldn't be better. So I'm fine with that, even though I still have my little MSU pin. I'm all about and all for this transition of Connie to the University of Michigan. So please join me, as you have before, but let's do it again, in celebrating with my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Connie Sung, the inaugural Annmarie Hawkins Research Professor in Disability Justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Leahy. And I'd now like to introduce, to give remarks, the inaugural Annmarie Hawkins Research Professor, Connie Sung. Connie, can you come to the podium?
So when I work with clients, I always say, take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. I always have napkins in my office, never fail. So I just wanna say how honored I am and how much it means to me today. And I can tell you, I told my husband, I'm so nervous about this talk. And then he was like, why? Because it's so important, and I care so much, and it's gonna be a very important and critical moment. And then he said, if you mess up the talk, are you gonna lose your job? because that's what matters, right, to the family. And I mean, all of this is not in my script, but then I said, no. So are you gonna lose the title? I said, probably not. Then why are you so nervous? I said, I don't know, I'm just nervous because I really care. And when I listened to Annmarie's speech, that resonated a lot because I grew up as the oldest daughter in the family, and in our culture, we are supposed to take care of our older parents. So when I decided to pursue my PhD in almost 30s, a lot of people questioned. Number one, when I had people question whether I'm gonna be capable getting into college. And I will go into those. When I got into college, I finished and I got into grad school, and they thought, okay, after master's, good enough. But then to me, it's not. I want to do PhD. Why? You are supposed to get married and have family and take care of your parents because you're the oldest. And you decided to leave your parents behind and pursue PhD. And after I graduated, I loved talking. And my friends always joke, you got the best job because you love talking, you love traveling, and you got paid to talk and travel. But then when I got my assistant professor, I worked really hard because I have a lot of imposter syndrome. What if I don't get tenure? What if I have a lot of what if? And I try to CBT myself. And then when I get to associate, people were like, okay, it's done, right? And I'm like, done? What do you mean? But I have never, ever in my entire life that I would dream of having a named professorship. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And I like to argue, I like to prove myself, and I like to prove people wrong. So now I can go back out and tell people what an opportunity, what an honor, and all the things that we could accomplish. So good afternoon, friends, colleagues, distinguished guests, and our guests all the way from Ireland. And I know on Zoom and some of the folks here from different parts of the world, different parts of the country. I want to begin by thanking each of you for being here today. This is not only a milestone in my own journey, but a celebration of a shared commitment to inclusion, equity, and justice for people with disabilities. I'm deeply grateful for the Hawkins family for making it possible for that legacy to continue here at the University of Michigan. Today's event is about more than a title. It's about the work that we have done together and the work that we will be doing together going forward. You will hear about my journey, my vision, and my 5 pillars of work. But most of all, I hope you will see yourself reflected in this story, and you will see a lot of the names will be mentioned in groups. Because everything we have accomplished and everything we hope to achieve is only possible because of the passion, the partnership, and leadership of people like you. So thank you for joining me in this celebration and in this moment. Before I say anything about my journey, I just want to pause and honor the remarkable woman in front of me, whose name this professorship carries, Annmarie Hawkins. Annmarie's life has been defined by dedication to the rights, education, and inclusion of individuals with disabilities. As an educator, advocate, and leader, she has transformed classrooms, programs, and communities, creating pathways for young people to reach their potential and for families to feel supported and empowered. She has shown us that inclusion is not simply about fitting people into existing systems. It's about reshaping the systems so that everyone can benefit. The principle has guided also my own work and is at the heart of what we are celebrating today. This professorship exists because of Annmarie's enduring impact and because of the generosity of the Hawkins family. It represents a living legacy, not just a title, but a promise to continue her work, to innovate while staying true to her values, and to expand opportunities for people with disabilities to thrive in every aspect of life. Annmarie, it's an incredible honor to carry your name and your vision forward. I hope that everything we do under this professorship will reflect your spirit of compassion and excellence and unwavering commitment to disability justice. And I also want to mention how much I feel about the Hawkins, because initially, my understanding of typical endowed professorship or named professorship is you have the title, you do the work that you do, and then the donor will be far away, unreachable. But it's the opposite here. They are very hands-on. They would listen to my work, listen to my vision, and really help me to bring that forward. So there's a phrase that guides everything I do in this work is nothing about us without us. This is not just a slogan of a disability rights movement. It's a principle for how we design programs, conduct research, and shape policy. It means that people with disabilities must be at the center of every conversation, every decision, and every system that affects their life. In my projects that some of the colleagues have been involved and might mention the Spartan Project Search, from that to the Stride Center, to our global collaborations across continents. We'll live this principle by co-creating with the individuals with disabilities, families, educators, rehab counselors, employers, and self-advocates. They are not just participants. They are partners, leaders, and co-designers of some of these solutions. Nothing about us without us is also what we honor, how we honor Annmarie Hawkins' legacy. It's a commitment to ensure the professorship bearing her name drives real, lasting change by centering lived experience and leadership of disabled people themselves. I want to take a moment to share how I get to where I am. To begin with, I just love working with people because I get to talk to them. I get to interact with them. I get to know them. When I was younger, my dream was to become a medical doctor. And I can relate a lot to what Annmarie shared. As a first-generation low-income student, I didn't have the grades. I am a terrible test taker. I hate taking tests. GREs, all those tests. I said those are for aliens, not for humans. And I wasn't able to get into the only 2 medical schools in Hong Kong that I grew up. But I know I love working with people. So I picked every possible discipline and profession that I get to work with people. OT, PT, social work, nursing, everything I put, because Hong Kong education system is very test-driven. We have to take public exam every 3 years, so that's fun. After I know that I couldn't be a medical doctor, I became an OT, occupational therapist, but I learned to think outside the box. I realized there was another path. I could pursue a PhD to do similar kind of work, to change the systems and the lives of people, and still be called doctor. And the same was true for my dream of studying abroad, because I didn't come from a wealthy family. We lived in a 300 square feet as a whole family, 300 square feet as a family. But by earning a place in a PhD program overseas, working hard with assistantship, I was able to live, to learn, and to laugh in another country and make the dream come true. So these experiences taught me that when one door seems closed, there are often another one open, especially if we are willing to be creative, to be persistent, to be stubborn. Is why I believe so strongly in building programs that also open doors for other people, especially for those who are marginalized and those with disabilities and their families, who may feel often those doors are closed for them. So this picture was taken in 2008. I just went to UW-Madison for my PhD program. So I thought, in order to show my commitment and also representing my identity, I need to take a picture with Badger. And then when I got to MSU, same thing. I need to take a picture with the identity. So when I get to University of Michigan, I took a picture with Annmarie Hawkins. So that's my journey that I think you recognize me, and I have been, this is real journey for me. So speaking of my journey in disability justice, you heard I'm a rehab counselor, a rehab psychologist, a researcher, an educator, and also a family member and advocate for neurodiversity. I believe deeply in research that empowers communities, breaks down barriers, and sparks systems change. That's what brings me to you today. And people often ask me how I stay so driven, like a powerhouse. The truth is, because I really, truly love what I do, and I only do what I do. I only do what I love, and I love what I do. From the very beginning of my career, I have been drawn to helping people, breaking down barriers, creating opportunities. Every project, from Spartan Project Search to Stride to this professorship, has been an extension of my strong passion. And when it comes to going after what I love, I have a problem. Number one, I love asking questions. Number two, I don't take no for an answer. And if a door closed for me, or people say no, I find another door. If there's no door, then I will build a door. That mindset helped me become the first in the family to earn a PhD, to study abroad, and to create programs that never existed, and to reach the milestone today. I share this not to talk about myself, but to remind all of us, especially students, young professionals here, that persistent creativity and passion can carve paths that you never imagined, just like me. When you align your work with what you love, refuse to be discouraged by the first no, you can change not just your own life, but other people's life and the system. So we heard about we are all in. When I do work, we are all in. But the in is beyond just being a part of, being in. I broke it down into 7 different elements. It's a collective effort that we are all in. We are building global disability justice together through research, mentorship, and community partnership. And each one of these elements is a value, a practice, and together they lead to impactful outcomes. Innovative, we constantly look for new ways to solve old problems. And I don't know why my daughter can share that with me, is these ideas, especially when you're in shower or when you're driving, they just pop up. I have a hard time to just compress them. Whether it's an AI tool for vocational training, for wrap-around transition support, all of these dismantle barriers rather than just work around them. Interdisciplinary. I had an interdisciplinary background with different type of training. No single discipline can achieve systemic change alone by bringing together social work, rehabilitation counseling, occupational therapy, physical therapy, public health, education, psychology, engineering, technology, all you can name. We create holistic solutions that match the complexity of people's lives. Intentional. Everything we do is done with purpose and clear goals. We set measurable objectives, build fidelity into our interventions, and make sure equity, sustainability abate from the beginning. And a lot of times when we do research, the questions that we ask, even the wording, the phrase, the options that we gave people is all intentional. Integration, we weave services, systems, and supports together so that people don't fall through the cracks. We don't want people to transition from school to the basement of the family. That's what we always talked about. And we try to link health, physical health, mental health, employment, and community inclusion that in a coordinated way. So we are not working in silos. We are not compartmentalized the different system and different needs. Interagency. We partner with schools, VR agencies, mental health providers, employers, policymakers to break down silos. These partnerships amplify our reach and create continuity. International. Like I said, I love to travel. I love to create opportunities. So I have to create opportunities for me to travel. So we learn from contribute to global network. As mentioned, we have collaborators from all over Europe, from all over Africa, and of course from my home country and all over Asia. My next goal is South America. So these international exchanges sharpen our ideas and expand our impact. When you combine these 7 INs, you move from isolated projects to an ecosystem of change. That's how we achieve outcomes that are not just good on paper, that to be archived in the library, but impactful in the real world. People getting jobs, families feeling supported, professionals working differently, more streamlined, systems beginning to truly value disability as a dimension of disability. So when I look back, my path to this professorship has been about building step by step. It began with the STEP Lab, where we first started exploring strength-based technology-enhanced interventions for individuals with disabilities. This was my testing ground for integrating research, student training, and community partnerships. So in the picture, you would see they all were my students, my postdocs in the lab. From there came Spartan Project Search at MSU, where we took the research off the page and into practice, co-developing a school-to-work transition program that gave young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities real-world experience and a bridge to employment. Building on this success, we launched Project STEM Up, expanding our focus to science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine fields, helping individuals with disabilities accessing high-demand, high-impact careers, and staying away from the 4 Fs of employment that typical people think people with disabilities will be working in. Those efforts came together in the MSU Stride Center, a vibrant hub for services, transition, independence, and disability employment. Stride was not only a research center, but a community, training future leaders, and advancing inclusive practices across Michigan and beyond. And today, standing here as the inaugural Annmarie Hawkins Research Professor in Disability Justice, I see how each of those steps led to this moment. This professorship allows me to combine everything I've learned: evidence-based intervention, student engagement, interdisciplinary partnership, global collaboration to drive systemic change and amplify the voices of people with disabilities. In other words, this isn't just my journey. It's a shared journey with my colleagues, students, families, self-advocates, employers, partners who have built each of these programs with me. Together, we are carrying Annmarie Hawkins' legacy forward into a future where disability is recognized as diversity and justice is the norm. One of the things that I'm proud of is how we work has grown beyond any single campus or country. Through research and mentorship, we have built a global network of disability justice community. We do this by connecting with partners on every continent, co-designing interventions, testing ideas in real-world settings, and sharing knowledge across borders. Programs like Hagley Fellows Program, A-STEP Cost Action, we have brought together 35 different European countries. These networks allow self-advocates, researchers, and service providers to exchange ideas and co-create solutions that are culturally relevant and scalable. The common thread is we are not just exporting what we do here from the US to other countries. We are learning from each other. A strategy developed in Slovakia, which I have the honor with my collaborator, my student here from Slovakia, a mentorship program from Ghana, can inspire our work in Ann Arbor. All these cross-pollination enriches every project. And we are building a global ecosystem where disability justice is a shared movement, not an isolated effort, and we are moving from individual programs to collective impact. And also, it is one of my greatest privilege of my career. So we always talked about the 3 letters, D, E, I, and I was told, don't say those 3 letters too fast. Separate them, so that may be perceived differently. Disability is diversity, a powerful reminder that inclusion begins with recognizing disabilities as an essential dimension of diversity. Too often, disability has been left out of the conversations about the 3 letters that I just mentioned: diversity, equity, and inclusion. I won't lose my job, right, by saying those words? Yet, 1 in 4 adults in US, over 1 billion people worldwide, living with some form of disability. This is not a niche. It's a fundamental part of human rights and human diversity. Recognizing disability as diversity means reframing inclusion. It's not about simply helping people fitting into this existing system. It's about transforming those systems so that everyone, whether you're disabled or not, can thrive, and the shift moves us from charity or compliance towards justice and equity. And this perspective is also how disability fits into the social work grand challenges of our time. Whether we are tackling workforce development, mental health inequities, access to health care, digital divide, we cannot succeed if disability remains an afterthought. By centering disability as an essential dimension of diversity, we design better policies, more effective programs, and more humane technologies for everyone. In my work, that's why we co-create with our stakeholders, and that's why our intervention will integrate health, employment, community life together instead of working in silos. And that also is why our students, our fellows, learn to see disability not as a problem to solve, but as a powerful driver of innovation, leadership, and equity. When we say disability is diversity, here we are making a promise to build systems that reflect the full spectrum of human experience and to ensure the future we are creating is one when inclusion is the norm, not the exception. When I look ahead 10 years later, I see a different landscape for disability justice. I envision a society with individuals with disability, especially youth and those with intersecting marginalized identities, not only have access to opportunities in employment, education, healthcare, and community life, but also actively co-designing and co-leading some of the systemic changes. In this future, these systems will be fully accessible, maybe more than 10 years, fully accessible, equitable, and co-created with disabled people themselves. At the center of this vision, Geraldine and I just submitted a proposal 2 days ago, is we are really envisioning a well-coordinated ecosystem that has interdisciplinary partnerships spanning academia, community organizations, businesses, government, and industry, all encompassed within the proposal, that drives innovation in disability-inclusive practices, policies, and technologies. To bring this vision to life, I'm focusing on 3 major strategies. The first one is developing community-led transition initiatives that co-design and evaluate manualized intervention, wrap-around supports, education VR system collaboration for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Second is to build a coordinated care ecosystems that integrates health self-management, employment readiness, community inclusion across life transitions, adapting patient-centered medical home that has been have been done for decades. But apply the principles, adapt the model for the intellectual and developmental disabilities population in the community and social service settings, with accessible digital hub, with peer support, and the trauma-informed care. And the third is integrating inclusive technology and AI innovation by co-creating some of these applications, prototyping assistive technology tools, and hosting inclusive design workshops to reduce everyday barriers in education, employment, mobility, and communication. This vision also means investing deeply in some of the policy changes, systems reform, student training, and leadership development, and global collaboration. Building pipelines for disabled youth and adults to co-lead research, to be our co-researcher, and leading policy changes, equipping professionals with disability justice mindset, and sharing best practices across cultures. In 10 years, my hope is disability will be recognized as a value dimension of diversity, that it will no longer be an afterthought, that new generations of self-advocates and scholars will be collaborating, leading these efforts, and our collective work will have transformed pathways to economic opportunity and community belonging. And that's the future we are building together step by step. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about each of the 5 pillars, because if you want to know, you can come to talk to me and I will tell you more in depth. And I also want to make sure we leave time for folks to mingle. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. You see it all? All right. Because I'm looking at the clock. I know Hala told me not to rush, but I know also this celebration is not just celebrating me. I'm really glad to see all the familiar faces meeting the new people. I want to make sure we save the time for us to connect with each other. So today is not just a celebration for me. It's a celebration of everyone here who has worked hard to create change and make an impact in disability justice. I'm honored to continue Annmarie's legacy and committed to empowering disabled communities through inclusive research. And this moment belongs as much to you as it does to me. Together, we are building a more inclusive and equitable future, and I greatly look forward to future collaborations and collective impact. And I always say it's so true. Everything we do takes a village. Towards the end of my speech, I have so many people I want to thank. And I have a long list of acknowledgement, but the slide deck is just so much space that I have to summarize it. First of all, my deep appreciation to the Hawkins family for their generous gift and their trust in me and their hands-on approach to really help drive this change. I also want to thank the Sung family for their endless support. I can tell you my parents, they're in their late 70s. And it's really actually hard for, especially in our culture, for older parents to say, I was honored to be offered a job in Hong Kong. Amazing, phenomenal. The first thing I call my parents, they said, do not come back. Turn it down. And I was like, why? A lot of the parents say, come back, because the offer is way better than what you have, and you're closer to home, and we will have you around, take care of us. Instead, they told me, with your personality, always asking questions, not being obedient and compliant, not taking no's, I worry you won't survive, because they always know I'm good with people, I'm good with proposals, grant proposal, I'm good with papers, scholarly papers. All the P's, I'm good at. What I'm not good at is politics. I thrive really well in an environment that is supportive, that give me freedom, autonomy, and trust to do what I love to do so that I can do what I love. So that's for the Sung family. And for the Buopas family, I want to thank them for their endless support, and I see my son is waving. I'm here. Are you thanking me, Mommy? And I mentioned I love to travel. I can tell you almost 90 to 95% of the time when I travel internationally, they came with me. Because it's important for my family to witness, to experience what we do. And my husband worked really hard to save all the holidays so that he can bank those days to travel for work. And we have a signed contract with kids is I always give them choices because that's what we do. You can stay home, do whatever you want, or you have to respect my work. When I have to leave early in the morning, come back late because of work dinner, you have to respect my work, no complaint. When I say we have to take a flight at 4 a.m. in the morning, you have to wake up, go to the airport, take the flight without complaint. When we are going to different places with the food that you may not have experienced, finish your plate without complaint, and they did it all. And they're also very patient with me. They said, Mommy, why are you always writing essays? Are you just replying emails? Or why is so many words? And when my daughter was trying to figure out what I'm doing and started reading my emails, meanwhile, she was telling me, Mommy, read to me because I don't know how to read books. And I'm like, you know how to read my emails, but you don't know how to read your books. And third, I want to really thank Dean Bath Angel, Matt Smith, Shauna Lee, Paula, Madison, and their team for all the support throughout this process. It has been a process. It has been a journey. From the time that I received the offer, it was very exciting. My blood pressure was so high to when I talk with what do I do? Should I go, should I not? To, okay, accepted the offer, went through the whole tenure and promotion process, to waiting for the Board of Regents approving for the professorship. Particularly, it was December. After the election, I'm like, okay, this professorship, with all the words that were, but when I heard it was approved, I'm like, yes. So I always believe in whatever I'm nervous, I would tell myself, I told you, I CBT myself is, I always say, yes, I can. Same thing when I work with community partners and families, I always say, yes, you can. And next, I want to thank my lighthouse. I don't know how to best describe it, but to me, it's like I was the boat sailing in the ocean. Dr. Michael Leahy, who is my long-term mentor, really watched me grow from an academic toddler to now I would call myself maybe an adolescent, young adult in academia. Dr. Fong Chen, he was my advisor when I was doing my PhD at UW-Madison. Dr. Chadwin Chen, he was my advisor when I was doing my undergrad and my grad school. And I told you I'm a terrible test taker. And at the time when I had to take GRE, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fail. And then I'm gonna let him down. And then I'm not gonna be admitted to any grad school overseas. But he told me, take a deep breath, take time, and study, and I will support you. And they also allow me to ask millions of questions, never turn me down, and empowering me to find the answers. Next, I want to thank all my students, postdocs, mentees, STEP Lab members for allowing me to be part of their career journey and learning together with me. And next, I want to thank all my colleagues at University of Michigan, Michigan State University, University of Wisconsin-Madison, and the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and beyond, for supporting me through a lot of ups and downs. And finally, I want to thank my research and community collaborators and self-advocates for inspiring me and being open to work together to make changes. And I have to borrow one of my team member, Alyssa Hernandez. She always say, do this work, we're gonna give a lot of love. And first of all, I feel a lot of love from every single one of you sitting here. And I also feel a lot of love that we are working together, that we will be able to give a lot of love to the work that we do, that other people will feel the love. And thank you for making all these possible and supporting me along the way. As I bring this presentation to a close, I want to leave you with a powerful reminder by Diane Richler that captures the heart of everything we talked about today. Inclusion is not a strategy to help people fit into the systems and structures which exist in our societies. It is about transforming those systems and structures to make it better for everyone. Inclusion is about creating a better world for everyone. This quote speaks to the essence of the Annmarie Hawkins Research Professorship in Disability Justice, not just making room in old systems, but transforming systems so they work for all of us and not some of us. That's the work that we call to do together. That's the legacy we are carrying forward. And that's the future I believe we can build, where inclusion isn't an afterthought, but the very foundation of our communities, our policies, and practices. Thank you so much again for joining me today, for your partnership, for your shared commitment to create a better world for everyone.
Wow. I would now like to present Connie and Annmarie with a special tangible symbol to mark this installation. So I'm going to grab those right off the podium. Named professorship medals are typically bestowed upon the recipient of the professorship and the honoree for which it is named. And the design incorporates university symbols and the official name of the professorship. These medals can be worn with faculty regalia on special occasions. They can be put on your dresser. They can be, maybe when you wear them, other people need to bring you dinner and you don't have to do the dishes. It's a choose your own adventure. But it's a wonderful way to mark this really incredible occasion and this amazing gift. So I would like to first ask Annmarie to come forward. Annmarie, your medal says, Annmarie Hawkins, thank you for establishing the Annmarie Hawkins Research Professorship for Disability Justice, inauguration ceremony September 18th, 2025. And if it's all right with you, Annmarie, I will put it around your neck. You can stay up if you want. Connie, can you come forward? This medal says Connie Sung, Annmarie Hawkins Research Professorship in Disability Justice, inauguration ceremony, September 18th, 2025. And so, Connie, I will give you your medal. Before we conclude our ceremony, I just want to thank the many, many people here in the School of Social Work that helped make this beautiful event possible. really led by our development team. So I want to acknowledge Hala and her incredible team. Also, everyone who works in our facilities office and managing our building, helping to support events. Our AV team who got right in there and made things right in the middle of the presentation. Thank you all so much. Let's have a round of applause for our team. And this concludes today's installation ceremony. As Connie alluded, we'll now host a lovely reception in McGregor Commons out in the front area of our beautiful building. And so for those of you who are attending in person, I hope you'll join us and mingle and congratulate Connie and Annmarie. And thank you all for being here today. And congratulations to you, Connie, and to the Hawkins family. And finally, as we like to say around here, forever go blue.